Hi everyone. I've chosen this filter because it kind of looks like I'm in a storm. Looking at the rain, it kind of reminds me of the day that I've had today. This morning I had a lot of tears, and it's been September is a time of change. You know, people going back to school, people are going off to university, people are like going back to work if they've had time off over the summer. It can just be a time of transition and change, which can stir a lot of emotions for people that find change difficult, yet inevitable. They say the only constant is change. Change is something that we cannot avoid. And I've been in a bit of a funk, shall we say, chartering these new chapters, not necessarily knowing what's coming next in many ways. And I haven't really been doing a lot of my talking videos, or I've released my new album, but I haven't really had any quiet time to kind of just do these type of talking videos for some time. So here I am today. And really just wanting to touch on something. I did a poem this morning. It just came from nowhere because I've heard some difficult news, and those of you that pray, please pray for a friend of mine who is currently missing. He's had a lot of trauma happen this year, and now he is officially missing. So a lot of us are praying for his safety and his return. So that's been on my mind today. And this is someone that I've known through a quite divine experience where he was in hospital after receiving a hate attack, and he's been through a lot. But Spirit, I didn't know this man. Spirit managed to connect me to him because I found myself praying for him, and in spirit I'd be by his side. And so I knew when he was giving up and I knew when to pray harder, and I knew how to intercede and to sort of encourage him in spirit, because he lives in a totally different country. And through this experience and his survival of it, we became very close. We've become friends. And now I just heard news that he's missing. So any of you that pray, please pray that my friend is safe and there is an explanation to what's going on, and for those that are worrying about him at this time. And on that topic, I want to speak of the power of your own presence. I want to speak of the power of you and your existence in this world. I think all too often when we're separated or we're too much in our own thoughts, we can think that our words don't really matter, that we don't have much of an effect on people. We don't really maybe understand the value of our worth. And today Spirit's been speaking to me about the value of things, and the value of showing up, and the value of me coming here and just speaking. Because if it can affect or encourage one person, then that's a ricochet effect. That is a positive reinforcement of your worth and the value of your words and the value of your presence. I was given a picture of heaven filled with gold, and then on the flip side I saw like this really dark, heavy place, and people walking around blind in the darkness, and then finding this shiny gold, and it looked so much brighter, and it seemed to have so much more value than it did when I could see it in heaven, and it was just accessible everywhere, and everyone was bright and everyone was happy. The value of that gold wasn't as prominent, shall we say, without the absence of it, and then suddenly finding it. Like, it's a valued treasure when it's not so apparent. Does that make sense? And I think what I was trying to be shown was sometimes it takes the absence of something for you to appreciate its significance and purpose in your life. And it's not to say that's always how it works, but you know, I'm constantly thrown in from like bright, shiny, like amazing spiritual experiences to dark kind of moments, and I know that that's part of the path. And as we all do, we all have these moments where we're low, but in those moments of being low, we need people to be a light, and we need people to remind us of the places that are accessible to us, the places in our hearts, the mental state of mind, the joy, the hope. We need people to speak of those things when we're perhaps in our darkest moments. And so never shy away from encouraging someone or speaking to them and allowing them to know that they're valued and that they're needed and that they're loved. Always choose that, because you just never know the weight of your words. You never know the weight of your actions. And just as a funny little example, today I opened my TikTok and there was somebody that I follow on here taking a run and saying, I haven't run in a long time and I'm kind of out of shape compared to where I used to be, but you know, just put your trainers on and go for a run. And I personally haven't been for a run for quite some time. And my yoga practice is slowly coming back, but I did take a break I used to run all the time. And just that little encouragement from that TikTok made me put on my trainers and go for a run. And I tagged those two people that kind of encouraged me to get out and do it. And you know what? I had a great time. I was back in nature and I was like, why have I stopped doing this? This is where I clear my head. This is how I connect to source. This is how I see the beauty in nature. This is how I get my download messages when I'm running. It specifically comes. And so, you know, who knows, when you put your trainers on and you just do a silly little TikTok video telling others to go and put their trainers on, you don't know the effect that that's going to have, or you don't know the effect of getting on TikTok and just telling people that they have value and that they have worth. And I think what I'm being shown specifically in this moment, as lots of things alter and change and shift in my life, is we are not an island unto ourselves. We need friends. We need people that notice our absence. We need people that can take you out of your slump when you're feeling low. We need to help one another, and that's such an important and vital part of community. And so if you're feeling low today, or if you're feeling like your voice doesn't matter, I'm here to tell you that it does. And if that person or those voices aren't here for you in this moment, then I encourage you to be that voice. Even in the darkness, even in those low moments, we can still choose to encourage and to share our love and our hearts with one another and inspire each other to keep going. Love you today.